Tough as this tour has been, it just got tougher. Thursday, stage 12, the mountains begin. The French had a success to celebrate on Bastille Day. Thomas Voeckler, already an improbable yellow, now keeping pace with the world's best climbers to hang on to the jersey. The Spanish and the thousands of Basque fans here also had something to cheer. Euskaltel's Sammy Sanchez, a lion-hearted performance to take his first ever tour stage win. But the Spanish also had the day's big loser.
And where is Alberto Contador? He's way off the back. That's a big gap.
Alberto Contador, wounded by repeated attacks from the brothers Schleck, unable to stay with his rivals on the road to Ardennen. An off day for Alberto, or something more serious? For today, another testing Pyrenean parkour awaits. Stage 13 from Pau to Lourdes. 3 climbs, among them the Col de Bis, over 1,700 metres high. Can Voeckler hang on in yellow again? Who will be the next big name to crack? Could find out on stage 13.
Bueno, ayer todos lo dicen, oh Alberto al final, ¿qué se pasó? ¿Qué se pasó? ¿Qué se pasó Alberto al final ayer?
Pues nada, no hombre, ayer la parte final, pues la verdad fue un final duro, al final ha sido un principio de tour bastante complicado para mí y bueno, pues ayer lo pagué y bueno, espero ir día a día mejor.
Cuando Fränk partió, ¿por qué no intentaste de seguirlo? Porque muy fuerte, mal a las piernas, la rodilla, ¿qué?
Porque los otros corredores también corren, ¿sabes? Iván Basso y Cadel Evans también corren y no puedo estar yo a todos los ataques. Cuando se fue Fran, se podía haber ido, por ejemplo, la vez anterior Andy. No fue un ataque especialmente duro, fue un ataque más. La única diferencia es que este ataque no salí y por eso pues ya se fue. Pero bueno, al final también tienen que estar Basso y tienen que estar Evans a los ataques y no puedo estar yo solo.
Yesterday, what's the verdict that you make of the yesterday stage?
Oh, I think we passed without happy. I'm happy with how it went yesterday. I certainly didn't make much time on major contenders. I even lost a little bit to Fränk Schleck, but I think now the race starts to unfold. Who's going good? Climbing really well. So from here on, we can go from that and maybe plan to do more in the next mountain stages like Plateau de Bay tomorrow. It's a tough day. So now knowing how the other guys are going, we can plan a bit better for stages like that.
Back live with the Tour de France on stage 13. These are the remaining points for the intermediate sprint that are being contested as Matt Goss starts to the lead out for the green jersey wearer of Mark Cavendish here. Hushovd is in his wheel. Philippe Gilbert went off on the attack while you were on an ad break and rode for about 500 metres ahead of everybody else, but then he's given up the ghost. He hasn't even tacked onto the back of this group whatsoever. Ventoso is the man behind Hushovd just to try and mop up extra points. The lead out now being done by Renshaw. Renshaw will drive this towards Lotto. Hushovd has tried to spring a surprise on this one. He's tried to go a little bit earlier. That's a fairly smart move, but Cavendish seems to be with it. Ventoso coming up alongside. Cavendish has to work for this one. It was Hushovd who got it. I don't think Cavendish really realised he was going to get duffed over by 2 there. He might just have got the extra point ahead of Ventosa, but they had to work hard with that 2-1, Sean. There was no real problems for the other two. Perfectly decent sprint, but I think Mark annoyed that he got caught out there.
Yes, he certainly got caught out, as we can see Roglic scoring here, and just slowly goes to the left. It does turn a little bit as well as we come to the line, and Cavendish just gets boxed in, as we can see here, and really well calculated by the Movistar team, and Cavendish not happy there.
Jeremy Roy dancing on those pedals to get to the top. A little bit more effort to Sir, and you will be there and take the points. It's 20 seconds back to Moncoutier. Moncoutier is going to try and get across to him, but I don't think he's going to manage. And it will be Jeremy Roy who takes the points over the top through the mist as they enter the cloud base and plunge down the other side. Polka dot jerseys then for polka dot jersey and best young rider jerseys, it would appear today for Français du Jour. They already have Arnaud Genessin in the young riders classification. Saw Tony Martin climbing at the front of the peloton, Sean, and the pace may not be super high, but it was a difficult day for HTC High Road yesterday.
Yes, a difficult day, and also unlucky really. We see Velets, he punctured at a very bad time and really paid the price. Finished only 4:15 down, considering when he had his mechanical problem, had to change the bike. It was the time that Leopard Trek were really up in the pace. So for Velets it was a very difficult day and a bad day. And Tony Martin also not as we were expecting to be. He suffered a lot yesterday, but I think Tony Martin will see more of him in this tour, because now he's in a position where he will be able to go in the breakaways.
53 back to Moncoutier as he goes over the top. Jeremy, on the other hand, is already swirling the pedals round on the descent of the Aubisque. He's got to go over the Col de Solaire, which is a sort of an adjunct to the main climb of the Col d'Aubisque. They often use them both as categorized climbs. Peter Velets and Tony Martin together in your shot there, climbing next to Andy and Fränk Schleck. Pierre Rollin is just ahead of Thomas Voeckler along with Anthony Charteau. Here comes the mighty Thor. The world champion has done a tremendous job. He comes up towards the top of the Aubisque. Let's see how good his descending skills are being honed today. We know he's a terrific bike handler and a fearless descender. As he comes over the top of the Col d'Aubisque, about a further minute back on David Moncoutier, so 2 minutes and 2 seconds is the gap. Jeremy Watt with under 5 kilometers to go, and Hushovd and Moncoutier. Now possibly Hushovd is going to up the ante, because it's getting too close to the finish to keep hanging back. He's played the little game with Moncoutier. Moncoutier knows all about that. Hushovd with a bit more purpose again now, Sean. I think he realizes no time to hang around. I shall take Moncoutier in the sprint. I'll make absolutely sure of that. But first, I've got to get to Jeremy Watt.
Yes, well, by playing about with Moncoutier and not riding, allowing Jeremy Watt to ride on, then you are riding for second place. So it seems to be that he's decided now, well, I've got to close this one down inside the final 4 kilometers. Even though Moncoutier's sitting on, he's going to risk it that he will be able to manage both of them in the final kilometers.
4 kilometers then for the Frenchman Jeremy Watt to see if he can take a stage victory here after an incredible amount of work. And undergoes Thor Hushovd. Can see Roy around the corner, but only just now, because Jeremy Watt has pulled out, what, 12 seconds it is now. It looked like it had spun out again to 15-20 seconds, but 12 seconds now is the gap. As soon as Hushovd pours on the gas, Sean, the gap comes down really quickly.
Yes, it's coming down very quickly again, and he was just playing the game with Moncoutier and bluffed a bit, and just did not ride for a while, for a moment, and just to see would Moncoutier panic and start riding again with him, but Moncoutier was prepared, just to sit on there and not ride, and Hushovd realises that, so now he's got to close it on his own.
It always looked as though it was going to be the way. They still reckon they can play at it. Moncoutier, this is like watching track sprinting with 3 kilometers to go, Sean. It's ridiculous.
Well, I think Hushovd is making the calculation. He doesn't want to close it down at this point. He's just leaving them hang out there. Unless Hushovd is starting to really suffer, but I don't think that is the case. I think we'll see Hushovd when we go to this inside the 3 kilometers, 2.5 kilometers. He will just start to close down on Jeremy Watt. And in that case, then he doesn't give much time for Moncoutier to go in the attack while getting really close to the finish.
Will Jeremy Watt be aware, Sean, of just how this little battle is going behind him?
Yes, I think the car will be making him aware of it, and they will be encouraging him and they will be saying, well, Hushovd is in difficulty, but here we are. Here's the answer.
Hushovd rides a little bit past David Moncoutier. Moncoutier, has he got any answer to this? Not at the moment. That's it. The man with the hammer. Moncoutier is going to fight to try and get that wheel again, but at the moment Thor Hushovd has about 20 bike lengths and he's almost made it straight across to Jeremy Wah. Made it look effortless, Sean.
Yes, on that little bit of a kick up, Hushovd just throws in an attack and Moncoutier not able to react. It will be interesting to see will Moncoutier claw his way back. Hushovd now in a situation when he comes to Jeremy Wah, does he stay in the wheel or does he just attack over the top immediately, because he cannot hang about, because otherwise Moncoutier will make it back in here.
I think he's going to sit there for a little, is he? Just get a slight, just get a bit of a breather. Moncoutier is going to try and claw his way back. Now Hushovd is going to go straight around the outside. Doesn't, as you say, Sean, does not want Moncoutier to come back to him, and he just rides off into the distance. The world champion, Thor Hushovd, just made that look like light work. Away he goes. What power. Oh, we've had some absolutely fabulous rides in this Tour de France. Riders with real panache going. And Moncoutier now clawing his way up to the wheel of Jeremy Wah. The question is, will he go past him as well?
Well, I think Wah will be able to take the wheel of Moncoutier, because he's not able to just throw in that big attack. We see Hushovd, when he came to the wheel of Jeremy Wah, just rested for a moment, had a look around, see that Moncoutier was coming up, and just another attack, and Jeremy Wah not able to attack. As we see, Moncoutier just rides by, but I think Jeremy Wah is totally empty at the moment.
Yeah, I think he is as well. Well done though, Jeremy Wah, for staying away for so long. And Thor Hushovd is riding hard towards the line and a win in this year's Tour de France. The question is how quickly is Moncoutier coming back at him, if at all. This is a very technical descent through the middle of Lourdes, and this is the one area that Thor Hushovd is going to excel in against David Moncoutier. Moncoutier would desperately like to get to the wheel, but we came through here today, Sean, and there's some very difficult little twists and turns in here. It narrows right down, doesn't it?
Yes, it does narrow down, and it's very technical, but I think the organisation knew the possibility of a big group coming in to get the first stage victory wasn't there, and they could afford to do that. But Thor Hushovd is not going to have any problems here. He knows that the other ones are just, you know, in real difficulty behind, so he can afford to take it a little bit easier in these final corners.
Thor Hushovd then running into a victory and the world champions jersey. The last man to win as a world champion was Oscar Freire back in 2002, and he's ridden a fabulous race as Thor Hushovd. He's been on the attack all day. He limited his losses on the climb of the Col d'Aubis, descended like a stone and rode up to and past everybody. Thor Hushovd is the winner today in Lourdes. David Moncoutier bravely trying to get back to him, second today for the Frenchman. And Jeremy Wah rounds the corner to take third spot, having been out there for so long by himself. And that is heartbreak for Jeremy Wah. So near, yet so far. Well, the question is then, behind Thor Hushovd, who will come in next? Philippe Gilbert went on the rampage out of the front of the peloton, clearly after the points in the green jersey in the end. Chris Birch writing in on Twitter saying this Tour de France could finish now, a week short, and still be one of the best tours ever. I'd have to say I agree with him.
Yes, it's been a spectacular tour, and you know, the way the riders are, you know, riding this race, and it's been a real interesting week. And of course, the first stage in the Pyrenees yesterday, we talked about it a lot, and often, you know, in the past years, we're, you know, awaiting the first stage in the Pyrenees, and then nothing happens. But yesterday, what a day's racing we had.
Absolutely. And tomorrow we're going to get another big day of racing, Sean, as we return to the almost the opposite end of the Pyrenees, from Saint-Gaudens down to Plateau de Bay. And a real challenge in store as Philippe Gilbert drives for the line with Bauke Mollema in his wheel. Terrific panache from the Belgian champion. He's worn every jersey here: the yellow jersey, the polka dot jersey, the green jersey, everyone he qualifies for. He can't qualify for the best young riders jersey, of course, but that is a great finish. Gilbert doesn't know when to quit, really, does he?
No, certainly does not. And this season, from the classics right on, Tour of Belgium, now in the Tour of France, every day getting involved in the action, and we've seen him there, attacking in the final. Other days, today again, going off a long ways out on the descent, taking the risk, and it's worked out for him because he's going to take, points ahead of Rogas here, as we see the Movistar setting up the sprint for Rogas.
Yep, no wonder has to take some points here. The question is, Van Endert is still up there as well. I wonder whether Van Endert will try and take this away from Rojas. If he can, he'll try and get up there. He's not going to do it because Rojas is a much better sprinter. Gregor Bola up towards the front. Rojas is being forced to lead out from a long way here to get the points. He does. Van Endert sits up thinking, I can't manage that. Safely overcomes the Maillot Jaune. And Genesson wearing the best young riders jersey. Thor Hushovd, the clear winner today. A big day in the saddle tomorrow. 2 second category climbs, 2 first, a third, and we finish on Plateau de Bay, which is an out of category, an all category climb.
The God of Thunder arriving at Lourdes with the World Championship jersey, going alone. The time of wonders apparently are not over.
No, I mean, this is the best moment ever in my career. I mean, winning alone in a hard day. We went over Col de Bisque and with a rainbow jersey. I think it's incredible. I'm just so happy now.
Yesterday was a first real test. Tomorrow will be maybe even more difficult with attacks from everywhere.
Yes, for sure it will be more difficult than yesterday. And as we know that yesterday was very hard, I don't know how it will be, but we'll just try to do our best, and we hope that some other teams will help us a little bit in the beginning and during the stage, because my teammates begin to be tired.
Cadel, nothing's ever easy in the Tour de France, but it was a mountain stage where I guess the big contenders didn't have to really race for it. What was it really like out there today?
Yeah, it was more a race for points and you know, things. Stage today, which for us GC guys, we're sort of trying to save our reserves for tomorrow and recover a bit from yesterday. So yeah, fair fireworks tomorrow. Don't worry.
Cav looking very nice there in green, but in the middle of the mountain stages, it's not that easy for the sprinters to get through, is it?
Not really. When we got a sprint and 10k later, we've got to do a climb.
The word to Christian Prudhomme, he's setting you up.
I know, it's how it is. We're not the only one who's got to do it, you know. Just so happens that the other guys are better climbers than me.
What have you guys thought about, you know, obviously looking at the stages and calculating what's intermediate sprints, what sprint stages are left? How comfortable and confident are you of taking the green all the way to Paris?
Not comfortable. We've got to keep plugging away at it, you know. As you can see, Gilbert's plugging away, he's getting points. And there's only 2 more sprint days left, so we'll keep trying to see what happens when we get to Paris.
He's big and bulky, he's built for the flat finishes and one-day races. But he's also Thor Hushovd, champion of the world. And yesterday, he gave us yet another reminder of why the rules don't always apply to him. Attacking on one of the Tour's highest mountains, gaining 2 minutes on the descent, and then powering past his rivals to take the stage win. While Thor celebrates today, the attention moves from one champion to another, Alberto Contador. He has won every Grand Tour he's ever taken part in, but 2 days ago he was dropped by his rivals on the first day in the mountains. Today brings the toughest stage yet in climbing terms, 6 major peaks, including the summit finish at the beyond category Plateau de Bay, 1,700 metres up. It was here in 2007 that Contador won his first ever Tour stage on his way to his first Tour title. Today, can he use these same climbs to rescue his yellow jersey hopes? Find out on stage 14.
Here we go. We're on Plateau de Bay. It's the big mountain of the day. The final test in the Pyrenees. First man to it, Ruben Perez Moreno of the Euskaltel Euskadi squad. Closely followed by another 5 or 6 riders. Let's have a look at what they've got in store. Carlton, take us through it.
It's nasty. It's black from the start, and you'll see the speeds absolutely falling away. We're over 9%, don't forget, in the black zone, between 6 and 9 in the red. So call that a respite, if you will, because we hit black again for 2 kilometres. This stretches, incidentally, over 15.8 kilometres. The average over the whole run is 7.9%, but we're well into the 10s on a number of occasions. Just look how much black is in this route. The worst place is the final kick of black, if you like, at the 10k mark within this 15. So with 5 to go, if you do your maths the wrong way around or the right way around. Final little bit of respite just at the very end. What a relief that'll be to everybody. There's your profile.
Got to say, it wasn't much of a relief this morning coming up. I got passed by ex-professional Martin de Groot. Rode for TVM. Not a noted climber, one has to say, de Groot. He will say to you, there goes Cancellara, done his job. He will often say, I hate climbers. And he'll also say, I hate sprinters. And I say, I hate rouleurs. And he just hates everything that hurts. But he passed me slowly. I tried desperately to hang on to his wheel. He still rides his bike a tremendous amount. But he dropped me off. He dropped me on exactly that point, Carlton, that you were talking about, at about 10 kilometres to go. It is absolutely brutal. It ramps up to the point where if you're not going well, that's it. You just explode. And this is exactly what's going to happen to some of these men if Leopard Trek drill it in. Doesn't matter that I'm not at the same level as these guys. It hurts just as much. They just go faster. Into the base of the climb comes the Leopard Trek train with Jakob Fuglsang in the front. 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Maxime Montfort now has to take over the pace setting. Away he goes. They've really got the bit between their teeth, Sean. They've gone absolutely at it at hammer and tongs, as Gilbert is going to have to be content to ride his own thing now. Look at this.
Yes, you can see Maxime Montfort taking it up and just setting a real fast pace, and you know, we could see O'Grady there as well. Fuglsang, who rode it in very strong to the beginning of the climb, and now we have Montfort who's setting a real fast one. This is the tactic, to make it real difficult in the beginning where it ramps up. Don't allow the riders to get into the rhythm on the climb, and we can see the damage it's doing on the rear end of what's left in the peloton.
Impressive by Jens Vogt on the deck twice, riding in the front here. He's going to give everything. He's that sort of rider, isn't he, Sean? His job is to get up the front and absolutely nail himself to the road.
Yes, and it's amazing that he's still up there, considering the problems they've had 2 times on the deck, as you say. And I think we might see more of him. And the big surprise to me is that, you know, it's not Jens who have taken it up before Montfort, because Montfort would be a guy who could take it up a bit later, further on the climb.
People spat out the back straight away. Look at the riders who are now beginning to suffer. That is Dmitry Muriev of Radio Shack. There is Robert Gesink, again off the back, dropped at the beginning of the climb. And TJ Van Garderen there from the HTC High Road squad. Lots of bodies on the mountain already, Sean. They're just all over the place.
Yes, and if they continue on at this pace, Tony Martin, difficulty. If they can continue on setting this pace, well, then it will really, you know, blow the group to pieces. Although there's a lot of riders here, but we're only on the first kilometre of this the climb to Plateau de Bay, but you know, 15.8 kilometres. It's going to be a real leg breaker.
If you've no idea, I mean, it's absolutely frightening to watch these guys. This is one of the steepest parts of the course, and to be fair, I was in the 39.25 going up there and just grinding away at it. You just see the speed these guys go at. It's really hurting them just as much, but the amazing amount of strength they have. Ivan Basso in the lime green. At the front, we don't see Schmidt. Is he going to come around the outside and help him? Is Sylvester Schmidt at all there today? Arroyo I've seen in the front group in the lime green helmet and blue of Movistar. They went into the bottom of the climb super fast, and I think everybody went, "What you doing?" and have a look at each other. Certainly Evans did a little bit. As Jens gets to the front and tries things. Contador moving up around the outside to get closer to the front. Immediately Voeckler responds, gets on the wheel. He's watching him. Oh, ones and twos. They're going to be coming in for minute after minute after minute today. They're absolutely everywhere. This is very impressive by Jens Vogt. Andy Schleck is on the right-hand side of your shot. The tall rider in the Leopard Trek outfit, the black with the turquoise helmet there. Cadel Evans just climbs just ahead of him now in the red of BMC with the rainbow bands around the edge of the sleeve and the yellow flashes on the shoes. He wears Diodora shoes, I seem to remember. So they got not many people wear Diodoras these days, but he's got them on. Just behind him is the yellow jersey of Thomas Voeckler. He hung on to the yellow jersey in 2004, that year that Lance Armstrong beat Ivan Basso. And he held on to by a slim, was it 21, 22 seconds? About 22. Getting up to the finish. Peter Velets is in this group. For HTC, you can just see him in the middle of your shot. Also Kevin de Weert of Quick Step with the front of the jersey wide open. It's very hot today. No fireworks yet, way too far out to have fireworks. Jérôme Coppel fighting to stay with the leading group. That's a good sign for Coppel. He's maybe coming around a little bit because he's not been in great shape. Jens continues to set the pace here on the front. Thomas Voeckler has with him one man from Europcar. That man rode brilliantly the other day. It's Pierre Rollin. Oh, very impressive by Jens Voeckler. Arroyo, number 81 on the far side of your screen, just being followed. And now by Damiano Cunego, then Fränk Schleck is just behind. Let's not forget the man at the front here, Sandy Cassar. Cassar, who's hung in for most of the day here. And now attacked again with Christophe Riblon and Javier Zandio behind. Anthony Charteau, well, has he got anything left in the legs? He'll be forced to use it, Sean, as Linus Gerdemann starts to be brought back as well. Jens Voeckler was in the breakaway with him. Gerdemann will know that they're coming up behind. Will he set us, how much of a pace will be able to set, Sean?
Well, that is the question. He has been out there for a long time, but hasn't been contributing too much, and he should be able to do some bit on the front. Considering Jens is, after having a lot of difficulty today, he's setting the pace there for a long time. But I think a different rider, Jens, of course. But Gerdemann, he should be able, Linus should be able to do a kilometre or a number of kilometres on the front here.
Christian van der Velde from Garmin. Cervélo is in here, as is, I think, rider Hushovd. There's Nicholas Roach on the far right-hand side of your screen, climbing with these men at the moment. He's got back into this group. That's very good for him. The question is, will he be able to stay there, having been dropped once already? It's, what, 18 riders, Sean? About that, maybe 20?
Yes, I think about a 24, 5 riders, and at the moment we can see just everybody playing the waiting game, and of course, there's still a long ways out, a lot of opportunities here to attack, and the problem is for Leopard Trek, they haven't got somebody who can really set a fast pace. Jens can, put a good pace in, but not fast enough maybe to really blow this group apart, and that's where Vogelsang, he would be the one who could do it if he was in real good shape, but unfortunately not having this the climbing legs in this tour for the moment.
Jens Voeckler finishes his day. He moves over to the left-hand side of the road. Brilliant work by the big German. Cassar is trying as hard as he possibly can. Mark Madio is getting used to hanging out the window with riders in the lead, Sean, thinking, I'm not going to hang on to this one.
Yes, he's been hanging out the window the past week, and unfortunately for Sandy Cassar, the advantage on the start of the climb not great enough, because Cassar is putting in a big performance here. He's holding off well, but again, I don't think it's going to be big enough. 150 at the moment. When the attacks come, it will just come down in 10 seconds by 10 seconds, and it will melt off so quickly.
Danielson is the other man from Garmin. Cervélo, my apologies. Tom Danielson sitting behind Christian van der Velde. He's had a very good Tour de France so far. It's the debut for the American after all these years, and going very well, Sean. I think he's at 4:35 on the GC, but he's looked comfortable for most of the time.
Certainly is, and he's seemed to be getting into the rhythm and climbing well. If he gets through today and stays for a long time with the favourites to the final couple of kilometres, then he will start getting the morale, and at the position he's in the moment, 4:35, he's capable of moving up in that general classification.
Herbert Dupont and Roche, I think. Hubert Dupont and Roche being dropped again now. Roche trying to hang in as long as possible. Carlos Paredo, the Rabobank man, here on the front now. Paredo is a very, very strong rider. And this one looks like to be the first of the interesting attacks, Sean, with other people trying to go with him. It looks like Rui Costa, who's latched onto the back. And Paredo looks like he's going for his own day today, his own win. Robert Hessink was in trouble. And Paredo has just gone for his own pace setting today, as Christian van der Velde on the front ahead of Tom Danielson. It's a good move for, interestingly, Andy Schleck once again looking around characteristically on the pedals, looks around a bit more. Arroyo, you can see off the back of the group now, just before that turn. Heimarth Ubeldir also dropped. Chris Anker Sorensen, I can see, for Saxo Bank in this group. There is Arroyo. And Arroyo has just passed Luis Leon Sanchez from Rabobank. Luis Leon offers him a bottle and he says, no, I'm okay. Still in the group here, hanging in is Amador of Movistar, but it's Garmin Cervélo setting the pace on the front. The big favourite, Sean, with the exception of Cadel Evans, who likes to ride at the front. Back here, Rigoberto Urán riding very comfortably for Sky, right next door to Andy Schleck, and Schleck keeping an eye on Contador.
Yes, as we've seen in the past 2 days ago as well, the Schlecks, they seem to be hanging around Contador a lot, and I presume it's just to see what way he's riding, and the riders know each other so well, they know their style, and when they're in a little bit of difficulty they can see that, and that is the reason the Schlecks are just staying around Contador for the moment to see what way he's reacting.
Andy Schleck on the right hand side of the shot, riding next to Contador just over his right shoulder, as Arnaud Janessin fighting to stay with this group, the young Frenchman who is wearing the Best Young Riders jersey at the moment. Haven't seen Rein Taramai closely anyway. Jelle van den Dert is in this group, looking around him, looking comfortable, as is Pierre Rolland again. It's been a fine Tour de France for Pierre Rolland so far, and for van den Dert. Cassar has 1:34, 11 kilometres to go. It's going to stay about this sort of level, Sean, until it really kicks off, until somebody decides to put the hammer down and attack one of the other rivals, and then that gap will diminish.
Yes, I think it will come down real slowly, but the bunch at the moment, the pace being set in by Van der Velde, it's not going to eat into the advantage of Cassar big time. Back in the bunch, they're just waiting, playing the waiting game, and you know, Danielson, I suppose he likes to be on the climb at a good pace. He puts Van der Velde on the front just to keep the pace, a regular pace, and Danielson is best at that style of climbing.
Surely Sandy Cassar, if nothing else, Sean, will end up with the combativity prize again today. Another one in the bag for Francis Dujeux, but they'd prefer, I think, a win of a stage, especially a big one like this.
Oh yes, they would certainly prefer to get a stage victory, and you know, it looked so good out there for a moment, and the way they were riding, I think they wasted a lot of their time advantage, but you know, Cassar certainly on a good day. The way he's riding here at the moment, you know, he's holding on to the advantage, even just taking a little bit, pushing a bit further out, but still with 11 kilometres, you know, a minute 37, I don't think he'll be able to hold on out there.
Van der Velde of Garmin Cervélo, with Tom Danielson alongside him now beginning to look. The looks go across there from Danielson and Voeckler to see who was trying to go on the attack. Van der Velde ups the pace just a little bit. Don't worry too much. Christian's just got to keep the pace going. A little bit of a dig by Astana, and I think that we're worried about that particularly.
I don't think we could call it a dig.
We didn't know quite what he did, really.
He was thinking about it and gave it a try, but just didn't have the legs. The rider from Astana.
Yeah, we're going again now. I'll have another go, shall I? Arnold Genesson is trying as hard as he can to stick with them. But it's not going to be for Genesson. He's just going to have to ride as hard as he can, because the real problem is that Rein Taramai appears to be safe in this group at the moment. We saw him go through the shot just a little bit ago. And Silin gets brought back again. Good job being done by Van der Velde here, Sean. On the right-hand side of the shot, I think Moinard has maybe come back to this group and riding towards the front now. The yellow jersey of Thomas Voeckler. Have we gone to it? Is there been a bit of an attack at the front of that group? Yes, there has. And this time it's Andy Schleck. Andy Schleck goes immediately. The director cut to the other shot. Andy Schleck. He just did a little bit of test of legs, maybe. He's up the pace. And immediately Alberto Contador is onto his wheel as they catch Carlos Paredo as if he was standing still. Behind Cadel Evans, that's typically hunched over the bars style of his. Van der Velde is spat. Fränk Schleck is in there. Voeckler still there. That's the first attack by the Schlecks. Andy makes the first one. Surely Fränk must make the next one, Sean.
Yes, you would expect us to be. That's the tactic role. But again, still over 10 kilometres was the finish, and they surely have a calculation, you know, what way they're going to work it today. But Contador reacting very quickly here today. If we remember 2 days ago, he was just leaving some of the other favourites take up the role of chasing, but immediately on the wheel of Schleck there.
It did spit out Daniel Navarro though, so one of the helpers for Contador disappearing. Pierre Rolland moves to the front, trying to set a pace that everybody will follow, but the nervousness behind means that they're all hanging off the back of Pierre Rolland at the moment. Sandy Cassar been in the break for all day and then launched the second attack. He's still up ahead by 1 minute and 22 seconds. Rolland is trying, he's in a bit of a funny position here, Sean. He's trying to set a pace that will just steady things down, but Thomas Voeckler is busy looking at everybody else and has to.
Yes, Voeckler seems to just want to sit back a little bit further off the front in the 4th, 5th or 6th position. Pierre Rolland just rolling on the front there, looking around, not sure what to do. I think he's waiting for just orders from the
second attack. Andy goes again. Van den Deert goes this time. A little bit of a delay in responding, and it's Cadel Evans, the next man. Goes around the outside of Pierre Rolland. Had to sprint at that one. It looked like Andy caught them a bit napping there. Good move by Andy. He caught them napping. Van den Deert was the next person to recognise it. Evans has to shut this one down. Voeckler's gone with him. Fränk Schleck's gone with him. But no Contador. No Alberto Contador at the moment. Andy Schleck has launched a second attack. Jelle Van den Deert has gone with it. But as far as response from Contador goes, he's missed out on the move immediately. Now he's got back. Oh, that was a big effort to get there, Sean. That's a big sign.
Yes, I think that is a sign, and it will be relayed to the riders, the Schlecks and all the other big favourites up front there, that Contador just took a moment to get back into the wheel, and I think you know, it will give them the morale to go in the attack again. They know he's in a bit of difficulty here as we see him just sitting off the rear, but is he just playing the bluff and just allowing the other favourites just to be out in front of him? I doubt it very much. You know, if you follow, you can sit further back behind the other favourites, but still you would be staying in the wheel.